In the last 9 or so years, it feels like in many ways, the quality of video games, and especially AAA titles, has declined.
1996 to 2006 really was the golden age for gaming.
Today, video games are just different. They've become too easy, too overbearing, and too safe.
Only 8 games released in 2016 had an aggregate score of 90 or higher.
Have video games gotten worse? Or did we just get fucking old?
Sup? God. I've been playing video games for a little over 20 years now. When I was a kid, I played classics on the Xbox 360 like Cameo, and other console games like Super Smash Bros., Call of Duty, Halo, Mass Effect, BioShock, and a lot of others. And then I transferred to PC, where I binged new games like StarCraft, Age of Mythology, Dota, World of Warcraft. And now, decades later, at the ripe old age of 25, I am still wrought with a love for these old games, as well as many new ones as well, like Prey and Valorant. So what is it then? What is it that separated these select few games from all the others that I played? Why is it that I remember these games over the myriad and honestly hundreds of games I grew up at playing as a kid and games I've played recently on stream with you guys? What is the secret behind specific games that makes them so long-lasting, impactful, and memorable for generations to come? What is it that separates a good game from a great one? Let's talk about it. What were you doing May 2017? Were you in school finals? Were you working a 9-to-5 job? Were you playing your new favorite game? Well, if you were me, you were getting rejected by college girls by night, and by day, you were playing your new favorite game, Prey. At the time, Prey was the newest game from Arcane Studios, one of my personal favorite studios today. And Prey wasn't just any old video game. You see, Prey was a game with vision, with a direction that was the antithesis of what many AAA games releasing at the time were. And ironically, I had a lot of fun playing Prey, even though it was this. But why was that? You see, Prey wasn't a game focused on awe-inspiring set pieces or groundbreaking graphics and a bombastic storyline and characters. Prey was a much more tempered experience, but also a much more rewarding one. In Prey, you assume the reins of Morgan Yu, a man trapped on a space station overrun by a mysterious alien race, and it is your job to figure out exactly what's going on. And while the premise of the story is quite generic, it's the rest of the game that is everything but. Because you see, the thing about Prey that it does so well is its unending and unrelenting desire to always give the player a sense of agency. Near the beginning of the game, the player obtains a fan favorite weapon called the glue gun. And at first you are taught that the gun can freeze enemies in their track, that way you can easily gun them down with as little ammo as possible, as the resources are quite scarce in the game. Soon though, after acquiring the gun, you may notice that you can climb on the remnants of the hardened glue left behind by your bloodshed. And from this you may notice that you can also connect these pieces of the glue gun together. In many other games, this would be the end of the interaction. But this is where Prey gets everything right. Because shortly after you finish your first big encounter after the tutorial, you are left sitting in a room with an elevator going to the main level and an inaccessible upper floor that you can only look into and gaze at, a part of the level that is only meant to be accessed later in the game. But for those of you who are especially observant, you may begin to hatch a plan in your head. A plan to connect the hardened glue pieces from before to get to the second floor. And lo and behold, your plan hatches and it works. And you are now part of a level you are not supposed to be in, all because of your quick-witted action. You see, Prey understood what it meant to be a good video game, and what it is that makes the medium so special in the first place. Instead of holding the player's hand the entire way through and making sure we didn't access a part of the game that was meant to be in-game, Prey instead chose to respect its players and design a map and gadgets that could be used in new and interesting ways to accomplish only what our mind could desire. Instead of telling you where to go, what to shoot, and how to do it, Prey simply gave you a simple objective and allowed you to create your own narrative around it. Prey put you at the forefront of your story and let you dictate its pace. And this is what all great games do. And it is what separates them from games we simply play for fun for a couple of hours, only to set down to never play again. To be more exact, I think the thing that makes games so special is their ability to trust the player. When I first started playing World of Warcraft as a kid during the Burning Crusade expansion, I fell in love with the sense of discovery, the ability to find new places, and the ability to create stories of my own. The game didn't force me to do anything. I simply chose. The game respected me as a player and let me decide how I would forge my own story. And while this made it a harder game, looking for dungeon groups, actually having to be personable to find teammates to play with, or actually having to grind and put in the hours to get better loot from big boss battles, the hardships created friction early on, but resulted in a holistic sense of satisfaction by the time I actually met those goals or discovered something new. The reason so many felt nostalgic for classic WoW is because they craved and missed that sense of belonging and self that they had found in the previous versions of WoW, and that was now devoid. That sense of hard work leading to bigger results. That sense of creating your own journey instead of the game simply deciding for you. And to this day, that is what separates good games from great ones. You see, the medium of video games itself is a special one. And there are so many developers today that don't truly realize the potential that games have to move the players and to have a lasting and profound effect on those who choose to play. Think about the Mass Effect series, where all of your decisions in the 3 games culminate in an ending that is different for every player. Well, kind of. But in all other forms of media, this simply can't be achieved. The introduction to the fourth wall, where the one consuming the media can have a truly impactful effect on it and not the other way around, is something that is entirely held within the realm of video games. And it is funny that so many developers nowadays don't see this and don't target these experiences in games that can be so profound and impactful. The great games of my childhood, of my teenage years, and in the present day as well as the future, will all be marked by one key characteristic that separates them from the rest. The greats will continue to be defined by their willingness to give players power over the game itself. The power to craft their own stories. The power to make their own decisions. The power to be rewarded for the work that they put in, whether that be through social stratification or symbols of efficiency. Give a player agency, give a player meaning, and give a player a meaningful challenge and a reason to continue playing. Because overall, this will have a more lasting effect than any amount of graphical upgrades or interesting characters you could add. It's the effect you have on the focus of the game, the player, that truly defines a great game and a game that will live on for decades. Because only then do you have something truly special. As much as we love to laud over specific games like The Last of Us and Uncharted, And we love to look back fondly on the great books of our history. These things are important and they are great mediums of art, but they are missing what it truly means to be a great game. The ability to put all of the power in the player and to allow them to create an experience all their own. Something that no other medium can do. Something that will truly leave an impact on you because you left an impact on it. A game that has systems intertwined together to allow you to create interesting new storylines and conquer problems in interesting ways. This comes in the form of games like Prey that I spoke to, of games like Valorant that have a competitive edge where you are always getting better and pushing yourself. And it is these types of experiences in the medium of video games that separates it above all. And it is those games that can target the true sense of self that will always, at least in my heart, be the best. At the end of the day, gaming is a subjective art form, as all are. We all like different games for a myriad of reasons, and you may like one thing in a specific game that turns me off from it, and we honestly will develop different likes for different types of games as we grow up. But it is undeniable the effect that a game that respects its players can have on the gameplay, story, and your overall experience. There's something courageous about a game that lets you make your own choices, that gives you a true challenge and doesn't hold your hand the whole way through. The powerful effect of meaningful choice, impactful player agency, and a true sense of challenge are really the pinnacle and perfect formula for what I would argue is an amazing game, and a game that will last the test of time. And I suspect many of you will agree as well. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think makes a perfect game, and make sure to absolutely discombobulate that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you want to get updated every time I have a new video out. And make sure to go check me out at twitch.tv/FranklyGaming if you want to go talk with me about topics like this live, as I love hearing about your guys' opinions and really getting to know you on a more personal level besides just the video format. So thank you guys so much for coming out today, and I will see you all on the next one.